All right. All righty. All righty. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hello, Degens. Welcome to Degenerate Takes. I, of course, am the Brofect1 AJ here on this beautiful Monday, February 20th, 2024. Let's get it going. Lot to talk about today. The Money Train Noah will be joining me just a little bit later. We got some stuff to talk about before he joins. Before we move on, though, do want to take a moment, shout out to our 432 incredible followers here on Rumble, 200 and some over there on the YouTube. We appreciate each and every single one of you. And hey, if you like what we're cooking, hit that like button. Helps us out a lot more than you know. But yeah, hey, before we get too deep into anything, do want to talk about a couple of picks I've got for today that we can go. I'm going to at least be sweating out as we get it moving. Picks for the day up on the bottom for you. I like the Winnipeg Jets on the money line today in hockey. I think they're going to, come out and do some good for us. Baylor plus the 4 in college basketball, along with VCU money line. VCU, you are catching at some good plus money there. Seems to be an absolute disrespect line for me when it comes to VCU. But hey, that's just me. I don't know what else you want me to say on it. But shout out to VCU. And, hey, if you got any good picks, drop them on over in the chat. Would love to talk about it a little bit more. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into some news that we're going to talk about before Noah joins us. We'll be breaking down the AP Top 25 when he comes live with us, talk about a little bit of some golf from the weekend. But hey, some big news announced today. Big news announced today in the world of college football. Yes, it's about time. It's about time, let's just say. I can't believe, honestly, that it took as long for them to deliberate as it did. I really thought this would have been a faster vote, a quicker vote, but apparently it's going to take them some time. It took them some time. I don't understand it, but we do have the approval for a unanimous approval that it is for the college football 5-7 12-team playoff format, as my computer is freaking the fuck out, which is going to be awesome, which is what we've been waiting for, what we've been wanting for as college football fans, and something that honestly just should have happened a long time ago. Every other year, at least, it feels like we are bitching and moaning about a team that was, excluded from the dance and wasn't able to come along to the party. And I got to say, it's nice that at least now we'll at least have, the top 12 teams in there. And then we get to bitch about, who didn't make it in there to 12. But it's going to work out pretty well. 5 of the highest ranked conference champions, they'll be the ones in. So first 5 in, and then the next 7 from there. So you're looking at 5 conference champions, as it probably should have been. But Pac-2, I mean, I don't know what we're going to do about that, but I'm sure they have got that figured out. And then, of course, 7 next highest ranked there in college football. And it always, brings up the question, how are we going to screw some fan base? How are we going to just absolutely ruin them? Just absolutely ruin them. And the NCAA College Football Playoff Committee, they're going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out. But, let's not get negative on this for a while. You know what I mean? Let's wait to get negative on it for a minute, because this is what we've wanted. This is what we've wanted. This is what we've been waiting for, what we've been, dying for. We've been looking for an expanded playoff. It made no sense to anybody how we can have so many teams in D1 college football, and yet only 4 teams decide who the national champion is. Never made sense, never will make sense. But here we go in the first step of kind of, hopefully at least, rebuilding what's going on here in college football and making it more competitive, getting the juice, making those games matter. Because like we looked at it this year, Florida State, really, what did they play for? What did they play for all season long? Made no sense. And then they get screwed, how they get screwed, which, hey, who doesn't get screwed in any of these scenarios? You're always going to have one odd man out that should probably get in. But it just didn't happen. It didn't happen. And that's why we got the 12. And seriously, I do think this is going to be a long-term good thing for college football. As we mentioned with the Florida State thing, it ensures that every single game matters from here on out. There's no ifs, no ands, no buts. Every single game matters because you're always going to be fighting for one of those top 12 slots. All right. Not only that, conference championships matter more. Conference championships matter a lot more, because now instead of Florida State getting screwed because the one game they lost all season long was their conference championship, they're fine. They didn't even lose their conference championship. That's another conversation for later. But at the end of the day, this is good for everybody. It's good for college sports and, lining their pockets. It's good for the athletes with NIL and everything. They're going to start to get a slice of that pie, and it's good. We get more football. We get more meaningful football. We get bowl games that now all of a sudden mean something. And I think that's something that's already been overlooked with this whole college football expansion, is the fact that we finally get bowl games that matter again. We finally get bowl games that you're going to want to sit down and watch. And yes, the Pop-Tart Bowl should absolutely be one of these games that's a semifinal or quarterfinal matchup. Are you kidding me? Yes, it needs to be. It should be already if it isn't yet. But I'm loving it. I'm loving everything to do with this, just so that we can kind of, get a basis on what we're going to be looking like schedule-wise. Looks like first round will be December 20th and 21st. Quarterfinals, December 31st, January 1st, those New Year's Six Bowls. Love that. Semifinals, January 9th and 10th. Love it. With the CFP National Championship game on January 20th. Again, how much this is kind of hurting me. How much I hate talking good about the people who run college sports, the people who run college football, the NCAA, all of them. I hate giving them any props where props can be due sometimes, and props are due here. They did it right. They go in balls to the wall, and I like it. I like it a lot. There was some rumors going around earlier in the season, towards the end of the football season, where it didn't seem like this was going to happen, or if it didn't seem like it was going to happen, they were just going to expand it to like an 18 playoff and then move on from 12 from there. But no, we're getting the full 12. And again, this is going to be nothing but good for college football. I'm beyond excited if you can't tell. I think it's going to be a beautiful thing. Absolutely awesome. What else did I want to talk about? NCAA president came out. He started talking, not about the Michigan stuff or anything like that. No. So today he decided to talk about the transfer portal, which I found interesting. And we'll get into his comments here in a moment, but let's just revisit the short history that has been the NCAA with the transfer portal, okay? The NCAA with the transfer portal has already, with these quote-unquote rules that exist or don't exist, they've already slapped sanctions on so many teams for transfer portal violations and stuff, and no one really knows how this whole thing operates. Not only that, but you are getting the issue of the NCAA coming in. You got a kid who's got some, says he has mental health issues, wants to go back to his school closer to his home in the NCAA, dragging their feet for a quarter of the season to get that done. And so the NCAA, in my opinion, does not have a very, how do we say a bright past with the transfer portal and how all of this has worked. Now, with all of that I just said, some interesting comments coming out of his mouth. Charlie Baker, of course, coming up on the end of his first year as NCAA president. And I got to say, doing a pretty shitty job. But then again, that's just probably the organization more than it is the person. But he sat down with a hour-long interview with ESPN. Ooh, we'll get to that old guy in a minute. What the hell? There we go. And there's a lot to uncover here. There's a lot to talk about in this. Honestly, as much as I hate ESPN sometimes, this is a solid article. Good writer there. Shout out to Dan Murphy. But, a lot of it had us to go around with, some coaches not liking the transfer policy and not this and that. And he cites one very important thing about the transfer portal. And it is one thing I think we need to always keep in mind when we do talk about the transfer portal. The fact that when these coaches are done, whenever that is, whenever it's another job comes up, whenever it's I'm just done with the way this school runs, whenever it's Shiner, NFL dreams, whatever it may be, they can just walk out of those contracts and they're done. And for years and years and years, those student athletes were SOL. No matter who the coach was, they could have just recruited them. It's week one of the we're done. We're out. And so I will say, yes, that is a good point. That is a valid point, and something that, I'll even admit, that kind of, goes to the wayside a little bit when you think about the coaches and all of that. Oh, sorry, Noah just gave me the update. But, it's one of those things where fine. If you want to go ahead and put a blanket rule out there that says, hey, if a coach leaves your school, for whatever reason it may be, you get to transfer. No questions asked. Go ahead and transfer. But then you're absolutely going to murder that program wherever it is. Absolutely murder it. But, maybe you make an exception here or there. Well, we've seen how that's been going with the NCAA and making exceptions, very much picking and choosing what they would like to extend. I mean, you want to even just talk about eligibility. I guarantee you they would have no problem extending Caitlin Clark's eligibility if she decided to come back for another season. But again, all of that aside, that's fine, but nothing here, and he's still, yes, that's what he said, and that's what they're doing. They're still trying to get Congress involved for some fucking reason and all this, which fine. But I don't know. It's all just a bunch of bullshit from the NCAA until action is actually taken. They go on to talk about, and again, I haven't listened to the full interview yet. I've just been reading a couple of the bits and pieces coming out, but I mean, the other part they talked about in this was just expanding, changing March Madness. You know what I mean? And he goes on to say, when something's done very good, like March Madness, when you change something, you got to take care of what you change. Well, why are we changing it? Who's asking for March Madness to be changed? Please, I would love to speak with them and love to hear those ideas. But I don't understand what we would do with March Madness. What else can we do to make it better? Seriously. You got the upsets. You got the Cinderella. You control essentially every single weekend of the end of March to April. I don't know. I don't know what else you want from that. I don't know what else you want from it. But hey, that's what they want to change. That's what they can go ahead and change. Whether it's extending or they're talking about these auto bids. They're talking about the auto bids. And this was arguably the dumbest thing. I want to make sure I get this quote right. One second. All right. Here we go. I mean, shit. Sorry. My camera did the thing where it zooms in. I don't know why. Oh, I do know why it does that. I don't know why I forget it does that all the time, or that I have the capability to do that. But anyway, boom. I want to read this part here. Baker said he does not support the idea of decreasing opportunities for schools from smaller leagues to make the tournament by eliminating any of the automatic bids those leagues get from, by eliminating any of the automatic bids those leagues get for the teams that win their conference championship. And like, I get it to a point, but it also kind of pisses me off. You know what I mean? Because yes, especially in basketball, you know what I mean? You get one of those, and they love it though. They love it though. It's part of the reason you love college basketball. You get one of those Cinderella stories who, you know, they've had a so-and-so season. I mean, they still got to play hard. They come out swinging and they run through the tournament. You know what I mean? But again, that's some of the stuff that makes college basketball great, that makes March Madness great. And so again, why would we change any of it? And yes, giving opportunities to more schools, that's fine. Let's not shove 10 Big 10 teams in there. They fucking stink. Let's take away some opportunities from them. How about it? And give it to some of these mid-majors that deserve it, instead of taking away conference championships winning. You guys have already tried to make conference championships in college football not mean shit. So why would you take that away from college basketball too? Makes absolutely no sense to me. Never has made sense to me when you try to take away from something and replace it with something, a shitty idea like that. Because they're still going to figure out every single way to get all those Big Ten schools in there. And Noah and I are probably going to rip them to shreds when we go over the top 25, because the Big Ten's not good this year. And so fine, NCAA, you want to go ahead and take opportunities away from those schools that win the conference championship and give it to other schools who quote unquote deserve it. Yeah, then why don't we just have a selection committee? I mean, we already do, but let's just have a tougher selection committee. Seriously, get the fuck. I hate when they bring that shit up. I really do. The NCAA, I mean, they almost had me. They almost seemed like the good guys for most of this interview, and then they just keep going. It's one of those less is more things. You know, one of those less is more. But whatever. He's in charge. He is in charge. By the way, side note on college football, Notre Dame's going to be an EA. Which, by the way, fact that EA Sports College Football 25 is coming out, that's awesome. That's awesome. It really started to feel like it was GTA 6 all over again. You know what I mean? Oh, it's going to come out this year. Yeah, finally, we got a quote-unquote release date for that, too. We'll see if that actually comes true. But, hey, EA coming out with that, I mean, it's great. It's great. It's great. Of course it's great. You know, first of all, let's use this NIL for good. All right, let's use this NIL for good. Get the boys paid. Get them moving. Get them rocking and rolling. Love that. Absolutely love that. And then on top of it, who the hell doesn't want this? Seriously, if you are a college football fan, you want this. And so the fact that we're finally getting it, let's just enjoy the good. Let's just enjoy the good. I hate seeing the criticism coming out about it, how it looks like a half-finished game and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, probably. I mean, shit, what have they done with Madden recently? It's literally, I promise you, it's going to be more of a copy and paste than Madden than anything, which is fine. I'm still going to, yes, I will. I'm honest to God. I will be that sucker that buys it, and I'll probably end up streaming it a little bit on here. Granted, I'm not good at Madden, so probably not going to translate well to EA Sports College Football, but you know, it's one of those things. It's one of those things that's, you know, that nostalgia kicks in and everything, and you go and buy it, and then you remember that, oh, this is the same shit. This is the same shit I was just playing 3 years ago when I bought the last Madden I bought. And now I'm sitting here like an absolute chum. But hey, it happens. It happens, right? Anyone else gonna buy it? I mean, I feel like a lot of people will buy it to buy it, but I don't know, man. I don't know. No, it should be on here coming up soon. Get into a little bit of everything else, but before that, I want to talk some NFL. I want to talk about some really disturbing stuff that's coming out. Well, not disturbing, like it's not bad, but it doesn't make me feel good. And so, yes, disturbing, I think, is the proper word. It does not make me feel good. It does not make me settle well, okay? First of all, I hate that we live in an era where you don't need real reporting. You don't need to ask the hard questions, but you can just simply go over to somebody's Instagram, Twitter, or whatever and see who they're following and who they're not. And then that's news. That's reporting. And for those of you who are not aware, I am speaking on the fact that Justin Fields doesn't follow the Bears on Instagram anymore. But Bijan, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. Yeah, so So the rumors are kicking up. The rumors are kicking up, especially as we're getting a little bit closer to the draft, closer to the combine here, with a lot of offers coming the Bears' way from, teams during the Senior Bowl regarding Justin Fields, which obviously you're going to have some conversations about that at some point, and you would be a bad team to not at least hear those options, because as we've talked about at the beginning of the offseason, the Bears got two options going forward. The Bears have got two options going forward. You stick it out with this head coach that you just said you're not going to fire, and you give the rookie one more shot. You give the kid one more shot to prove that he can be your franchise guy. Already starting to look better towards the end of last season. The Bears as a whole, as an offense, as a defense, everything seemed to started to kind of fall into place. But then you also got door number two. And door number two is that new shiny object that's looking you in the face, that wants to just go home, watch Netflix with his dog. But hey, he's damn good on the field. Some people are even saying, he's up there with the Peyton Manning and, Andrew Lucks of the draft world, where these are just number one draft picks that you can't overlook. You can't pass up if given the opportunity to take them. That's what everyone is saying about Caleb Williams. But if that's what and fine. But then why are those conversations not, hey, what would it be to go get the number one pick? Why is the conversation, hey, what is it to get Justin Fields? Let's just ponder that for a second. Because if you're getting calls about Justin Fields, you got to be getting calls about the first round pick, right? And so what if, just join me on this ride here. What if Caleb Williams is not looked at in the NFL, in other NFL circles, as the clear number one overall pick, or with nearly as much upside as past number one overall picks? What if in this crazy world we live in nowadays, the media is just gassing this kid up because they've been gassing him up for 2 years and they can't be wrong? You know what I mean? And yes, it's well documented on this show that I'm not the biggest Caleb Williams guy, and I have no problem saying that. Again, as I mentioned, I think he is a great player on the field. I don't think that can be taken away from him. I think the Heisman backs it up. I think the fact that he wasn't in the Heisman race this year speaks even louder volumes of his play on the field. Because why wasn't he? Huh? I'm just asking some questions here. But, with that being said, again, such a great player on the field, his leadership and maturity, I think, is a huge question off the field. And when you're investing a number one pick, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of jobs that you're going to have to go through. Yeah, that's a lot of jobs you're going to have to go through. Head coaches, offensive coordinators. That's just a huge headache, honestly. And you can see that the Bears are still going through that headache because we're having this conversation right now. And, honestly, I think I probably would be on board a little bit more with drafting a quarterback number one. Again, I think there's a lot better options on the table with Drake May and Heisman winner this year. Why is the name escaping me? Where's Noah when I need him? Jaden Daniels, thank you. But with those two guys on the board too, not to mention a Bo Nix, who honestly, I thought the last 2 seasons put up pretty solid performances. And not only that, but you don't hear about anything off the field. Off the field stuff for those guys isn't hitting the internet, isn't making headlines. And maybe, of course, could be a problem with living in LA, going to USC, living in the penthouse and everything like that. But again, why are people calling about Justin Fields and not the number one overall pick if Caleb Williams is supposed to be that guy? Because maybe the Bears already have a guy, because also, and again, this we're in bullshit season. We're in that bullshit season where everyone's going to say anything to try to get a leg up on somebody, especially in football. And so could there be a little bit more to it since Justin Fields, quote unquote, has unfollowed the Bears? Yes. Did he even follow the Bears to start with? Who knows? Is he just tight with Bijan, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London? Who knows? All I'm saying is that it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me why the Bears would be getting so many calls about Justin Fields instead of the number one overall pick. And, maybe, yeah, you can get Justin Fields for a little bit cheaper. But, excuse me, on the flip side, I'm just not, that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me. Now, with all that being said, Justin Fields goes to Atlanta. This is a new ballgame. That is a move. That is a move. And the Falcons have said, hey, we're going to be aggressive in our quarterback search. We are going to go out and get a guy that we want. And, you get an athletic quarterback like Justin Fields out there running an option with Bijan. You got Kyle Pitts and Drake London there to make him feel safe and cozy and at home. I mean, that's an offensive team. That's an offense that Justin Fields hasn't played with. That's more talent than he's had since he's been in college. And so again, it's an environment over nature over nurture almost when it comes to these quarterbacks. Because you are honest to God, you are looking at Justin Fields getting dumped into Atlanta and then Atlanta being a serious problem in the Waffle House division next year. Like a serious issue. So we'll have to see how that one plays out, but I'm holding on to hope. I'm holding on to hope that the Bears aren't going to draft Caleb Williams. I really am. And, Cliff Kingsbury getting, that job over there in Washington. I mean, we have seen other teams like the Denver Broncos, try to lure a quarterback with coaching hires and stuff. But with the draft, it's kind of the Bears' decision where Caleb goes. And we don't know the conversations that are happening behind closed doors. Perhaps the Commanders have made some very strong calls up to, the Bears about getting that number 1 overall pick just so that they can they get the guy that they want. If that happens, then hey, honestly, if that happens, let's just come on, just come with me on this. Because if I'm looking at this right, 1 second. All right, so the Commanders are there at that 2 slot. All right, so it probably wouldn't be the haul the Bears wanted. All right, it probably wouldn't be the haul the Bears wanted. But with that being said, with the Commanders there at 2, all right, let's just say something happens. There is some type of a trade that happens here. The Bears can sit there at 2, keep Justin Fields, and get a Marvin Harrison Jr. AJ, do they really? Yes, they need anything on the offensive side of the football to give Justin Fields some love, some help. A Marvin Harrison Jr. there at number 2 would be great because if he doesn't go there at 2, he's going to drop down there to the Cardinals, which, again, I would be extremely happy about. I would be extremely happy about to see Kyler Murray play with a talented young wide receiver and not a washed-up has-been in Hollywood Brown or, a guy who is just in an unfortunate situation with the team that he was on. Shout out to D-Hop again. I appreciate the time that you wasted here in Arizona, but yeah, oh man, I really don't want, because then I promise you, if Caleb Williams goes to the Bears, mark my words, we'll be in the same conversation in 3 years. We will absolutely be in the same conversation in 3 years. Yeah, but AJ, the team already looked better from the end of last season, and so you put a better quarterback like Caleb Williams. Let's see how he plays in the NFL. Let's see how he plays in the men's league. And not with 50 minutes to throw the football behind an offensive line that is bigger than every defensive line they play. Let's see what he can do when not everybody catching balls for you is a 5-star receiver. Let's see what happens when he gets cracked for the first time in the NFL. Whoo! That's going to be a good welcome to the NFL moment. But again, I don't know how you go with Caleb Williams when you got Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, and Drake Mace all sitting right there. I don't. Because at least you're not going to have to worry about that off the field stuff. And you even just want to take away this year. Let's go back to when he was winning his Heisman with the go fuck you Utah or whatever. It's just always just some small questionable things there from the kid. I don't know. Oh. Noah should be joining us here soon. I want to see how my bets are doing today. Let's see how it's cracking. If my computer will work for me. Again, it's something weird with ESPN, and when I try to mirror the screens on Rumble Studios, I have no idea what it is. But I had issues on my other platform too, so it's possible that ESPN just sucks when you're streaming. VCU down 26-38 at the first half. I mean, I'm not panicking yet. I'm not going to double up funds on VCU. I'm not going to double down on them right now, but oof, that one does hurt a little bit. Let's see if they can get it going in the second half here. Still waiting for Baylor BYU, and then I think Winnipeg just dropped. Oh, yeah, they're getting ready. Puck dropping here soon. Boom. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, also, okay, while we're still talking Caleb Williams. Let's go ahead and dig in here a little bit more on this so that if he does end up actually being a generational quarterback, I can just be on freezing cold takes for 5 months. But y'all heard of this guy, Joel Klatt? He's a CBS he's a CBS guy. Got a podcast and everything, because who doesn't now? I mean, shout out to me too. But yeah, Joel Klatt says that Caleb Williams is the best quarterback prospect of the last decade. Number 1, Caleb Williams. Number 2, Trevor Lawrence. Number 3, Joe Burrow. Number 4, Drake May. Number 5, Bryce Young. I mean, that's a list right there. That's a list. And I mean, really, let's take a look and see what some of these quarterbacks have done recently, huh? Trevor Lawrence, I mean, have we seen what he is or what he will be as a finished product quarterback? I don't know. I mean, I still think whenever you see him play a good game and that Jaguars team play a good game, you always have that hope that he is ready to take it to that next level. But he hasn't come through as that game changer, that playmaker that can put the team on his back in those situations that's needed and win a football game. Joe Burrow, I'll give him that a little bit more, but he is, I would say, more experienced in those bigger games. And so it seems natural that he is, a little bit more comfortable in those situations. Previous off seasons, shortened off seasons, honestly, especially during that, preseason, during preseason, during being injured with appendicitis, his leg, all of this. I mean, I think we're also got question marks about Joe Burrow and how he's kind of ending up as a quarterback. Drake May, obviously, we got to see what he does. Got to see what he does. But you want to know what my one thing about Caleb Williams is his attitude, his maturity, all of that, his leadership, the stuff you'll look for in a young quarterback. Same thing with Bryce Young. I mean, I don't know. Again, I do not have any doubt about his on-field ability. I am not calling him out for that. I think he is absolutely, as they've said, one of the more impressive quarterbacks that we have seen coming into an NFL draft. I just don't see him as good as everyone else with all the question marks with his off-the-field stuff. Because that matters just as much as anything. Because I know for a fact all the guys in Cincy will go to battle for Joe Burrow. I know all the guys in Jacksonville go to battle for, Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if I'll be able to say, I don't know if I was able to say the same thing about Caleb Williams at USC. I think that's fair. And, college, different game, different atmosphere, different all that, but still, I don't know. All right. Noah should be joining here soon. I might need to get water before he hops on. But yeah, again, I want it very clear. Caleb Williams, talented quarterback. A lot of questions about everything else. What else? Ooh, all right. A little bit MLB. Spring training literally starting on Thursday. Cannot wait for that to finally get kicked off. And then we get MLB. And with that, we do get Rob Manfred coming out a little bit more than usual, especially during spring training and all of that. His contract will be up in 2029, and that is when he has announced that he will retire. So it will be the last 4 years of his run here as MLB commissioner. With that being said, it does look like he has one more thing with his eyes set on to cement his legacy. And that being 2 expansion teams in the MLB, calling it, first of all, inevitable and tapping Nashville and Salt Lake City as potential candidates. Now, Salt Lake and Nashville have been the targets of expansions in the past and very big in the conversations in the MLB world about two expansion cities. Nashville, I think, has proven time and time again that they can have those sports teams there and absolutely cook with it. And Salt Lake, I think, you got the Jazz. You got the Jazz. The Jazz are solid. They're cooking, but it's going to be one of those things. It's just going to be one of those things that you're going to have to wait and see. I think it makes a lot of sense for Rob Manfred to, want to be doing this, to want to have something like an expansion, like two expansion teams that he can rest his hat on and say, yes. And in the last 4 years, I came and I said, hey guys, let's get an expansion team. Let's get two expansion teams going. And so we'll see. I mean, Rob Manfred, in my opinion, I need a lot more before I start liking the guy. And I want your opinion on this. All right. I want your opinion on this. I'm going to bring him in. He's the man with the numbers. He's the sportsbook whisperer, college basketball guru, daddy of the diamond. All hail the king of the links. And we got a new nickname, the prince of the props, the money train. Noah, what's up, buddy? Welcome. How you doing today? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
What?
No, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You hearing me okay?
Okay, yeah, you're coming through now. I don't
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Now I'm clicking shit wrong. What's up, bud?
Hey. Not much, man. How's looks like you got a little early start here on the show.
Dude, yeah, got a little early start. I got a couple of things I want to run by you. First of all, have you had the opportunity to see the college football playoff announcement with the 12 team passing today?
Yes. Yeah. I briefly saw that.
All right. I just want your initial thoughts on it. I'm super stoked on it. Give me more football. Getting the New Year's Six involved. I mean, bowl game's going to matter again. I couldn't be more stoked on this whole thing.
And they agreed on what, the 5+7 format?
Yeah, 5-7 format. Rolling there.
Okay. Yeah, no, it'll be good. College football playoff has needed a little bit of expansion. And we talked about that. I don't think they show more. I thought 8 would have been full. 8 would have probably been the perfect number in my mind, but what the hell? Let's go to 12. See how it works. Probably wouldn't expand any farther than that because then you're just adding too many weeks of football onto the season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's why I kind of think the 12 teams work, because it works into kind of that, what they already have available. And so it'll be solid. And I mean, hey, Noah, we're going to be able to talk about who got screwed out of number 12 for the next couple of years to come. So that'll be nice and refreshing instead of who got screwed out of 4. I mean, if nothing else, just because it's different numbers.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the same though, right? Because you talk about most years the 4th team in versus the number 5 or 6. It's going to be way different because whoever's getting in with that 12, 12 is going to be whatever group of 5 team is going to get absolutely obliterated. And then whoever the Hour 5 team who gets in at 11, they might have a chance, but I don't think we're going to see a ton of close games necessarily. Like maybe you could have an 11 beat like a 6 seed. That's reasonable. But if that 11 beats the 6 and then has to go on to play the number 1 overall team in the country, we're talking college football. The number 1 overall team and the number 11 team, 9 times out of 10, that number 1 team's going to win and win pretty handily.
I agree.
So
but...
I don't. You can sit and complain about getting snubbed out of that last spot and not having a chance, but I think it's a lot different of a story if you're talking about, you're a 3-loss 10-3 and you finish run up your conference. It's not like we're putting out an undefeated Power 5 conference or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and I think it's fine.
I think there's less room for argument.
I agree with you, Noah, but wouldn't you also agree that on, any typical day, a 12 seed in college basketball would lose to a 1 seed in college basketball? Like, think,
not as frequently.
but I guess that's my, yes,
Like, I think
fine, not as frequently,
the
but
number
that's still
one
kind of
team
my point there.
any given year, yeah.
Any given year,
Well,
any given Saturday, and then you
I
get the
think it's very
parity that they're
different.
looking for.
Yeah, although like football, I would say, the number one team any given year versus the number 12 team, the one team will win 90 to 95% of the time. Basketball, you're probably looking at more of a 70-30 split because it's more variable than football is, and
Fair.
you got a lot more parity in basketball than in football.
That is true. That is true. I mean, I will say football's coming around a little bit. Shout out to NIL, but I think we will have to wait and see a little bit more on that. And then, the only other thing I was talking about really was Justin Fields not following the Bears on social media, and it seems like my worst fears of Caleb Williams coming to the Bears are going to come true. Because I mean, hey, Noah, they say he follows Bijan, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts, so obviously he's going, right?
Yeah, he also just followed Jordan Love recently, so maybe the Packers have a new RB1 coming in.
I saw that. Could you imagine, bro? Could you imagine Justin Fields just got so done with playing quarterback as a Chicago Bear that the only way he decided to revitalize his career was to go play running back for the Green Bay Packers? Like, bro, just put it officially then. Unfortunately, it's sad that I can't even wrap my head around that actually happening,
Yeah, and the thing is, this is fucking professional sports. If you're one of those people who reads into who people are following or not following on social media and all this shit, you're probably wrong 95% of the time, because usually that doesn't mean shit. Every now and then it does, but a lot of the time it doesn't. People are going to fucking speculate. Some of these athletes just have a bunch of fun just fucking with the public by doing this shit. I remember a year or two ago when Jair Alexander removed Packers stuff out of his
that was so funny.
Instagram and everything, and then fucking sky was falling, and then what happens? He didn't go anywhere. He signed a big extension. It's just so dumb to read into all that and pretend like social media is telling us what's going to happen before any official business is done. And like I said, I do think a lot of the time these athletes are just doing this for entertainment, to fuck with the public. And
well, hold on, Noah. We would be remiss to not mention the fact that Kyler Murray removed everything about the Cardinals from his social media, and he got a huge ass guaranteed contract, or mostly guaranteed contract.
Yeah, so like I said, 95% of the time I'm not reading into this shit at all, and I think it's just a waste of time. And they're, like I said, the athletes are probably just doing this for their own entertainment and enjoyment.
Oh, absolutely. What else? Why else would you do it? Especially in the off season. He's probably rehabbing or something. It was just like, oh, this would be funny. Let's get the nerds. But then, here I am talking about it today. So I'm one of those nerds.
Yeah.
Side note, did you watch any of the, I know you had family in, did you watch any of the NBA All-Star weekend though?
No, not one lick. And, although I was out at a bar,
and you made it a point to not look up at the screens.
No, well, it was this 3-point contest and weird green neon lighting, and I wasn't really sure what was going on because clearly. Yeah, well, I also didn't understand the scoring because clearly that has drastically changed, and they just assign random point values to different balls and say, fuck it, we'll see what happens.
Well, they got
and that's all I got from that, watching it with no sound on. But also the U of A ASU game was on at the same time, so why the fuck am I going to watch the starry 3-point contest?
I was just asking a question, Noah, and yes, I watched the U of A ASU game over that too. Bear down, go Cats. I don't want to hear about 70 to
And
whatever ever again. Okay. What?
Yeah, and so I didn't really watch hardly any lick of All-Star Weekend in general because, you know, the truth of it is there were better sports on at every given moment of All-Star Weekend. So why am I going to tune into some NBA bullshit when there's really good college basketball, there's meaningful hockey games going on,
Great
like
hockey on this weekend. I watched a lot of hockey this weekend, so shout out to the NBA.
Great golf tournament, great golf tournament as well. And then yeah, it's just like every single moment of NBA All-Star Weekend, there were better sports on. So I don't know, unless you're a huge NBA fan and you actually care about that stuff, I don't know why you would be watching NBA All-Star over anything else.
Yeah. I mean, hey, shout out. I appreciate that they're trying, but I'm getting to the point, bro, where like I'm not watching NFL All-Star Weekend. I'm not watching NBA All-Star Weekend. NHL, I mean, I'll watch the skills competition probably, maybe.
Even that, though, like the only sport that has a good, entertaining All-Star break is MLB, and it's the one fucking thing the MLB does right. And
one thing.
None of the other professional sports have a like the rest of professional sports outside of baseball. These players don't give a shit. I mean, you look at who was it who was getting booed NHL All-Star Weekend the entire time? Kucherov, Nikita Kucherov.
Yeah.
Because he was putting zero effort into the skills competition, all this other stuff. Also because the NHL was stupid and made it fucking mandatory to go if you get voted to the All-Star game. So he didn't want to be there. And so he wasn't trying for shit the entire weekend. And it just, that makes it an even worse experience. And like I said, baseball is the only one that does it right. The rest of them are all lousy and suck. So that's, you know, not even really a shot at the NBA. That's you know, NFL has become a joke.
Yeah.
The NHL has become a joke, and baseball's all that really matters.
And baseball's the only thing with something on the line. The team that wins that division has home field for the World Series. Like, and everyone seems to walk past that every single year. You know what I mean? We talk about the All-Star game and everything, and everyone just wants to glance over that. No, like there is something on the line for this All-Star game. And, you know, it doesn't imply to half of those people. But if you're making an all-star team, you're more than likely maybe on a competitive team. Yeah, exactly. And so it gives you a lot.
Well, 2/3 of them are. So
fair. 2/3. I'll give you that. But MLB's got that one figured out. So shout out to them. And hey, spring training started. I'm excited to get back into a stadium, you know, buy a beer that's way too expensive. A hot dog that should not cost that much, but it's still $8 somehow. And, you know, get ripped off by the Cracker Jack prize. No, I can't wait. I can't wait if you can't tell.
They even put prizes in the Cracker Jacks anymore, or are they just those little temporary tattoos or whatever? Stickers, maybe.
Yeah, but like I still have that dream that like I might still find that one Cracker Jack box they accidentally still, because let's be real, Cracker Jacks don't expire. You know what I mean? That is styrofoam that they covered with, you know, caramel, if we're going to be honest. And so they probably have a box in there from the 80s still that still's got a solid prize in there. Who knows? Freezing up on me a bit, bud. How you doing? There you are. Oh, man. But, yeah. No, you got any college basketball tonight?
Yeah, I do. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure something out real quick.
No, you're good, bro. Take your time.
Yeah, I feel like there's something running in the background here that shouldn't be.
Have you done that Control-Alt-Delete thing yet? Get that task manager up?
That's what I'm looking at right now. Yep. Because it says it's using 98% of my CPU right now. And
that's a lot of it now. I'm not good at math, but that's a lot.
This program's only using 10 of that 98%. So
Are you running like Fortnite or something in the background?
We're gonna try to.
Are you watching a game on there as well? Because
No.
sometimes I'll do that and that happens to me.
Nope, not doing that.
Oh,
I think I found it. What are we doing here?
What the hell am I listening to now?
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry for the little delay here, folks.
Dude, you're good. I'm actually going to take us off real quick. I'm going to grab some water. I'll be right back, buddy.
Oh, my Windows is updating itself. That explains.
Oh, yeah, that would take up a lot of your CPU there.
Yeah.
Was it just like trying to sneakily like download in the background?
Well, I didn't. Yeah, nothing popped up or anything, and then when I open Task Manager, it's like Windows update.
Windows is updating. That's fun.
All right, we're taking a quick little.
Yeah, I just need to refill my water. Yeah, so give me like 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
All right, give me another minute or two, and I'll hopefully have this sorted out.
Yeah, close that out. We'll be back, and we'll be breaking down some college basketball. See y'all in a moment. Hey, good buddy, good to go.
Yeah, hopefully it's better now.
All right. I mean, I'm sure it is.
Probably doesn't help that I got an 8 or 9 year old laptop.
No, but hey, we make do with what we got to do, right?
Yes, sir.
And I mean, honestly, like those stupid updates, they're so big now. My fiance has gotten big into gaming lately, and we bought her Halo for Christmas, and that Halo just had an update. And holy crap, bro. Like, I thought I was downloading a whole new game, but no, that was just and like, I've been out of gaming for so long. Like, I can't remember the last time, like, you know what I mean? I really sat down and played games, but damn, those are some big fucking files.
Yeah, worst part is too, can't even end the Windows update because then tells me, because I went to end task and a warning thing came up and it said, if you end this now, Windows will be unusable until blah, 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 blah. I'm like, great, okay. So I have no choice. I did close out a couple other things. Hopefully that's better now. Probably just need a new laptop. I mean, this thing's, like I said, probably like 9 years old. Sounds like it's, a spaceship blasting off to the moon every time I boot it up. So that's all.
I feel you. Yeah. Hey, it happens. But until it burns down, Noah, I know you're going to be using that to handicap college basketball every single day you get a chance to. I got to ask, did you have a chance to handicap anything today? Anything you're looking at? Maybe in this late slate here?
Yeah, I think I had about, let's see. I think I had 20 plays today, 20 on the dot. And let me just pull that up here. Sweating out this Butler Villanova game right now. That was my first play of the game. I think I got Butler at, I don't remember if I got him plus 6.5 or 7 or 6 even. It's going to make a big difference, I think, down here coming down to the wire.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, let's find this.
You getting screwed on VCU money line like I am?
I didn't take a money line, but yeah, the plus 3 is not looking much better.
No.
All right, yeah, so I got Butler plus 7, Tennessee minus 12, UCF minus 3, Akron plus 2, Bowling Green outright, Miami, Ohio minus 2, Duquesne minus 8.5, Eastern Michigan outright, Davidson minus 6, Ohio minus 3, VCU plus 3, Ball State outright, UConn minus 2.5, Baylor plus 3, Utah State minus 2.5, Maryland plus 7, Pittsburgh plus 6.5, Boise State minus 15.5, San Francisco plus 7, and Wyoming plus 14. A lot more dogs than I usually have on my slate.
Yeah. I love that. I love San Francisco at plus 8 there. I think they're going to give St. Mary's a hell of a game.
Yeah, I didn't love where a lot of these lines were sitting at today. So, yeah, Butler down 10 now with 1:01. That's going to be a close sweat there.
Yeah.
Actually, basically all my bets look like fucking shit right now that I'm actually looking at this.
It's one of those things. No, it happens to the best of us. I'm just right. I took 3 things today.
We got time.
Yeah.
Hey, VCU's only down 13 with almost 10 minutes left. Yeah,
I know that. What are they at right now? I think I saw them at like plus 1,200. I mean, plus 2,200 now. I mean, bro.
Yeah, I think I'm losing every single one of my bets right now, but most of them have at least 9 or 10 minutes, if not more, left in the game. So a lot can change.
All right, I'm sprinkling just a little bit on VCU plus 1,800.
You're wild.
A little bit. But it's okay. No, it's okay. I missed it. Did you have Baylor plus the 4 on your list?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Did have Baylor plus money. Yeah, we still got. Yeah, I got a lot of the slate left to go today too. So.
Oh yeah.
We'll see. I'm not feeling super optimistic. I have had either 12 or 13 straight winning days. So.
Ooh.
I don't know. Hopefully my luck's not about to come to an end, but
stay sharp, stay hot.
If that does end up happening, it's been a really great almost 2-week ride I've been on right now, pretty much since the start of the month almost.
Yeah, you've been cooking, bro. You've been absolutely cooking.
And I'm up. Yeah, I'm up close to 100 units in the last
Damn.
12 days.
There you go, bub. There you go. That's what we like to see. That's what we like to hear. Way to be. But shout out to college basketball, Noah. And one thing we always love about college basketball, I don't know if we love this about college basketball. I would say we more tolerate it. Talking, of course, about the AP Top 25. You know, I almost look forward to it coming out every week, but I almost am looking forward to it because I can't wait to be disappointed in it. You know what I mean?
You know, unlike football, I think we get these wild fucking AP polls at the beginning of the year. But as the season goes on in college basketball, I think it gets more and more true.
Okay.
Because you got a bigger sample size. And I think the polls I have less of a problem with them the deeper we get into the season.
Fair.
Those first like 5 to 10, I mean, because we're in what week what now?
Oh God.
Hang on, I got it.
That's too much math for me right now.
Week 16. This is the 16th AP poll of the season. Yeah, first like 5 to 8 are really weird. Maybe even the first 10. But like I said, as the season progresses, they seem to dial it in and get. Like I said, I personally have less and less issue with it the deeper we get into the season.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair. And I mean, I got to say, I only see a couple of things I truly have an issue with this week's top 5. So I'm excited for it. You ready to get into it, bub?
Yeah, let's dive in.
All right. If fucking this'll work with me, what's going on? All right. There we go. Looking at the top 5 in the AP, we are looking at UConn, number 1, Houston, number 2, Purdue, number 3, Arizona, Bear Down Go Cats, number 4, Tennessee, up there at 5, Noah. I mean, obviously the glaring thing on here is Purdue with their loss to Ohio State, dropping 1 spot, Houston moving up there. Give me your initial reaction on that.
UConn, our first unanimous number 1 since... I don't remember the last earlier on in the season. I think somebody might have been unanimous number 1, or maybe we haven't had one yet. I don't really remember off the top of my head. But UConn unanimous number 1. I love it, and I don't think there is any room for argument. I think UConn, Houston, 1 and 2. Those are the 2 best teams, and I've kind of been saying that for a few weeks now, if not longer. UConn and Houston, 2 best teams in the country. I've had them 1-2 for 3, 4, 5 weeks straight now. Purdue, I don't like it 3. I mean, I get they only have 3 losses, and we've been saying in previous polls, well, they only had 2 losses, and that's why they're ranked as high as they are. They have had way too many close calls. Like, you cannot trust this team for shit. It was only a matter of time, and they finally ended up actually losing one after borderline losing to not that great teams multiple times. They finally got bit here. I don't think it's going to be their last loss of the regular season.
No. Absolutely not.
Big Ten tournament. Plus, the Big Ten tournament is going to be so fucking wide open. I mean, there's like 6 or 8 teams who could win the Big Ten tournament because I don't think there's a single team in the Big Ten that's like stand out, dominate. They're going to run the table easy. Like, almost all of these teams, even if they are the better team, are susceptible to losing to one of the other teams in the Big Ten. It's kind of a garbage conference.
Yeah, it's the Big Ten beating up on each other because everyone is mid.
Big Ten tournament because right, and the narrative that they're shoving down people's throats. It changed last year. Last year was the first year they didn't do it, but the 3 or 4 years prior to that, it's the Big Ten's just beating up on each other because they're all so good. Yeah. And then they all flopped like 3 years in a row in the tournament. And now people have finally shifted their tune and they're like, oh yeah, the Big Ten just beats up on each other because they're not that good.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and honestly, you want to take a look at those losses that they've taken. I mean, Northwestern, Nebraska, and Ohio State. No, I don't know about you, but I don't look at any of those teams and be like, okay, that makes sense. They're going to make a deep run in the tournament this year. They should lose to this top tier competition. Like, no, they are losing to teams, and they have been at risk to losing to teams that are just not good.
Yep, and they also went to overtime twice against Northwestern. Very well could have lost twice to Northwestern. Northwestern's a bubble team. Ohio State probably a bubble team, and I think Nebraska's on the outside looking in. So, yeah, I mean, and they've had some really close calls as of late. Minnesota took them down to the wire. That's another bubble.
That's another glaring one right there. Yeah,
probably just on the outside looking in. 6-point win at Wisconsin, who was ranked number 6 at the time, and we've seen the downfall of Wisconsin since then. 20-point win at home against Indiana. Indiana's kind of trash. Like, that's a game they should be winning by 20.
Yes.
Or beating Michigan by 32. Like, you should beat Michigan by 32 at home if you're that highly ranked. But barely escaped at Iowa. Barely escaped at Rutgers, went to overtime at home against Northwestern. Like we mentioned, that loss to Nebraska. 5-point win at home against Illinois. I'm fine with that because Illinois is decent. And yeah, I'm not going to dive back into 2023, but that's just 2024. That's just half of their, half or 2/3 of their conference schedule they've played so far.
Yeah.
And they've had more close calls than they have blowout wins, which is why I was baffled that they were sitting at 2 with about almost a third of the first place votes. Cause I'm like, you're struggling against the bottom half of your conference. Like, this is not a good look. The foundation is weak, and I think that will get exposed. I still don't think people are seeing it as exposed yet. Obviously, only dropping 1 spot, still sitting there at 3. But I mean, it's going to be real fucking embarrassing if they follow up the last 2 performances in March by losing to a 15 seed in the first round and then a 16 seed in the first round. If they fucking do it all over again, which I'm thinking they're going to be at risk of.
Because Noah, as we have talked about for weeks now, they're a very one-dimensional team. You've got a 7-footer, get him the ball, and then play defense the best you can. And most of the time that works out for them. But as we're seeing, it's not a 100% guaranteed win formula. And it's been showing now, we are now deep in the season. Edey looks tired. He looks tired dragging that ass up and down the court. I mean, and that's just part of the season. But
he's not tired. He's just slow. He's
that too. That too. Maybe it's just that, and I'm giving him an excuse now for being tired. But
he's not athletic. Like, and this is why Edey, props to Edey. He's probably going to win his 3rd player, Naismith Player of the Year award in a row. He's not going to do shit in the NBA because he's too fucking slow.
He can't compete.
Slow as shit, and he can't shoot. So, like, all he is 7'4". But, you go from playing these college centers who are maybe 6'9", half of them are only 6'9", 6'10". So he's got 6-7 inches on half of them, to going up against, the Joel Embiids and, those type of NBA players. Like, he doesn't have a shot in the NBA. He's too fucking slow, and he can't ball handle or shoot. So, shout out to Edey. He's going to go down as a historically good college basketball player, but beyond that, I don't see him really doing anything, and he's slow.
Would you have dropped Purdue out of the top 5?
Yeah, I barely had him hanging into that. Like, if you remember the last 2-3 weeks, I'm like, I got Purdue right around 5 or 6, but barely inside the top 5. I think I had them at 5 the last 2 weeks. Now I want to drop them all the way to 8, 9, 10 range, because
I'm with you.
I've got an excuse to do that. They lost. I don't think it's going to be the last loss they take before the March Madness tournament is here. And I think there's some better teams behind them in the AP rankings.
Yeah, number 4 Arizona, obviously, right?
Well, yeah, I'm not going to go into the same spiel I have for the last couple of weeks. Obviously, hell of a performance by Arizona.
Hell of a game.
Beating our rivals, Arizona State, 105-60, 45 points, largest margin of defeat in the history of the territorial cup on the court, if you will.
Oh, but that's just recent history, no, because we got another game coming up with them next week, by the way.
Oh, so you think we're going to beat them by more than 45 in their building, huh?
Listen. Does a 50 burger with Hurley getting ejected sound like a great Wednesday night to me, Noah? Yeah, that kind of actually really does. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
I think that's gonna be more of like a 20 to 25 point spread.
Oh,
I think it's gonna be
Noah. There's going to be nobody there though.
I'll be there. I think.
Well, I'll try.
I haven't bought my tickets yet, but I think I need to.
I haven't either. I'm going to try to make it work. I got to talk to my boss still, but.
Anyways, yeah, I'm not. I don't really have a lot else to say about Arizona. I'm not going to beat the same drum that I've beat the last 2 or 3 weeks. No. We're winning games. Feels good. A huge game against Washington State this week. We have Washington and Washington State this week. I don't know which day versus the other. Washington State is on Thursday. If Arizona beats Washington State, we will have a 2-game lead, essentially, in the Pac-12 with only 4 or 5 games left. Should lock us up for the 1 seed in the Pac-12 regular season championship. If Washington State wins, then they essentially have a game lead on us with the same conference record because they will have beaten us twice. So must-win game on Thursday. Arizona gets past that. I'll borderline pencil them in for the number 1 seed and the Pac-12 regular season champions. Washington State wins. It gets a lot spicier.
It does.
And then Washington's not very good, so I'm not worried about them. And we're at home. Yeah. We play much better. We play much, much better at home than we do on the road.
Always.
Pains me. Number 5, Tennessee.
They're up by 1 right now against Missouri with 9:21 left to go in the second.
Oh, a whole point.
Yeah, a whole point.
And Missouri's trash.
They are bad.
God, as I've said with Tennessee, they look really, really good sometimes, a lot of the time, and then they play games like this. This is not the first time this season that they have played a shit team and not come out ready to perform. That's a tough one. Before last night's game between Houston and Iowa State. So if we're ignoring that, like if I gave the rankings yesterday morning before that game happened, I would have had Iowa State sitting up there at 4. I would have had Arizona maybe all the way up at 3. Iowa State probably sitting right there at 4 because I would have both of them above Purdue.
Fair.
They did lose to Houston, but I mean, losing by 9 points on the road to Houston, or 8 points, I think it was, because they covered the spread. I had them.
Yeah.
I think I had them +9 or 8.5, and I think they ended up losing by 7 or 8. Not a bad loss at all. I still think Iowa State's easily a top 10 team. I'd probably put them at 4. I mean, I'd probably even have them all the way up at 4 or 5 still. Like I said, on the road at Houston, not a bad loss. That's one that I just completely ignore. Throw that one out. Doesn't matter. But yeah, Tennessee, God, they look really, really good at times, and then they have games like this. And I don't like them in March.
No,
like
God, no. God,
and I did bet on them minus the 12.5 or whatever it was tonight, and clearly they decided not to show up tonight.
Yeah, and hey, they like to have those games where it's just not gonna roll well. But yeah, they're sitting there. Anything else on the top 5?
Nope.
Cool. Keeping it moving. Number 6, we've got Iowa State. Number 7, Marquette. 8, Duke. 9, Kansas. And 10, North Carolina. Noah, how are we feeling?
Well, I already touched on Iowa State. Marquette's in like the same boat as Iowa State for me, though. Like, I would probably actually have Marquette. My top 5, UConn, Houston, Arizona, because I can. And none of the other teams other than UConn and Houston have a, bona fide argument that they're better than Arizona. Yeah. And then I would probably, I would have had Iowa State 4, Marquette 5, but I'll probably switch it because of the Houston game. But yeah, I've got Marquette rounding out my top 5. I think that loss to UConn, yes, it was a really terrible loss. They lost big, big time, but this is the defending national champion is 24-2 on the season, blowing everybody out. So, I don't hold that one against Marquette. And
No.
I still think Marquette is, like I've been saying the last couple of weeks, one of the hottest teams in college basketball. I have no problem betting on them going forward to do well.
No, not at all. Not at all. Love Marquette. We've liked Marquette pretty much all season, and they've been solid down the backstretch there. I love them. Excuse me. Duke sitting there at 8. I mean, Noah, is Duke just a sleeping giant that we got to wait till March until they fully awake, or what's going on with them?
Yeah, they're doing this weird thing this year that they never do, and that's flying under the radar.
Yeah, and I would say for good reason they're flying under the radar. No, they're not the absolute dominant Duke team that we are used to or have seen in the past, but hey, they play some good basketball, bro, and they get the job done.
Yeah. And reality of that one is it's Duke, right? I mean, once March rolls around, they're probably going to show up. They tend to do that.
They do like in March.
Yeah, other than the weird random 1 or 2 off years where they've lost in the first round, Lehigh. But no, usually Duke's pretty solid in March. They've been playing good ball. They're in a weak conference. I mean, really, it's them in North Carolina and nobody else. They're in the ACC. There's some okay teams in the ACC, but I mean, weak conference. I don't know. We'll see. I think they'll win a game or 2 or 3 in March. Same thing with North Carolina. I don't like them. I don't like either team as a Final Four team.
No, God, no. I didn't say that, Noah. I just said wake up a little bit in March, maybe.
But don't be surprised if Duke and UNC are both in the Sweet 16 come that time.
Yeah, no, not. You shouldn't be shocked at all. It's one of those things where, death, taxes, and those two making the Sweet 16. It's just one of those crazy things about life. But speaking of UNC and Kansas dropping 3 spots this week, Noah. Would you have dropped them further, or are you kind of like where they're at?
Well, Kansas getting punished by, it's their second loss in the last 2 weeks. They dropped 2 spots after losing at Kansas State. Then they went to Texas Tech and lost by, 29 points?
Yes, something like that.
So I'm okay with the 3-spot drop because of how badly they lost. And yes, McCullough was out, and that was a huge factor to that. But having your best player out, or arguably your best player, is not an excuse to go lose by almost 30 points to a conference rival when you're supposed to be a top 5 or top 10 team.
Yeah, that's not how that happens.
If you're that highly ranked, the rest of your team should be good enough that you can, maybe you're not the same, but you shouldn't go and lose by 29 points.
No, you should have a plan B. A plan B, break glass if broken. You know what I mean? But we'll see. Maybe they got to wait to pull out that plan B. They're waiting, but I don't know. Kansas got to get something figured out soon.
Well,
but
McCullough's back now. He only missed 2 games, so.
All right. UNC there. Anything else on the top 10?
No, don't think so.
Alrighty, let's keep her moving. 11 through 15, you got Baylor, Illinois, Alabama, Auburn, Creighton to wrap up your top 15. Noah, how are we feeling?
I feel pretty good about Baylor.
I do too.
Just being in the Big 12, and you got, what are they, they're the 4th Big 12 team ranked. It's such a fucking gauntlet and hard conference that, Baylor sitting at 19-6, 11 overall, good for them. I think they'll be a factor come March, and I got no problem with them at 11. They've played a decent season. Illinois, on the other hand, same record. Much different story.
Very much.
Different
Very
story.
much so.
Now, Illinois' only saving grace is that they did play a tough non-conference schedule and got some really great wins out of there, had a couple quality losses. So that's the only reason they're sitting where they are. Otherwise, they played a weaker non-conference schedule. They would be probably still top 25, but outside of the top 15.
Yeah.
Much like Purdue, I don't trust the Big Ten teams whatsoever come March. So I'm not going to spend too much time worrying about what Illinois is doing. Alabama, I think they're a little overranked here. I just, although the SEC is
Weak.
proving, well, no, they're proving that they got some teams. They're just weird because we'll call them the Jekyll and Hyde conference, because the top half of the SEC is pretty good and then the bottom half is trash. So they're not good through and through like the Big 12. They're not shitty through and through. They don't really have, I mean, Tennessee's ranked 5 right now, but I wouldn't have them in my top 5. Like, they're not a conference that has a top 5 team, but they feel like they got a lot of guys, a lot of teams living in that 10 to 25 range. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how I see the SEC, the top half of it. And then the bottom half is just shit. So they just beat up on the bottom half, you know, the Vandys, the Missouris, those kind of teams. And so I don't really know. I'd probably have Auburn above Alabama personally. They're sitting right behind them. I don't know how you accurately rank those SEC teams, though, with all the beating up on each other that they've been doing.
And you would call that beating up on each other?
Well, yes, because I would say the top 5 or 6 teams in the SEC are very evenly matched. And so they do like the little circle thing where they all beat each other, or they, split games. It's just,
Yeah.
There's not a lot of separation is
fair. All right.
And I think those teams will actually fare fine come March, because they have had all this battle testing against each other. I don't know how to accurately rank them right now is my problem.
All right, let me help you out here, buddy. Let me help you out, because I know how to accurately rank these. First of all, you take all the SEC teams, and you see that number 15 right there? Okay, yeah, you just look at all the numbers below, because no, except South Carolina. I will give a pass to South Carolina, even though they did disappoint me this weekend. No SEC team should be in the top 15. They the way you feel about the Big Ten, and yes, I think that time over time it has shown that, but it feels like the SEC is just the new Big Ten in that respect, that they're getting all this hype and everything. They're quote unquote beating up on each other because they're, it's hardening metal or whatever, sharpening iron. But in reality, they're going to get exposed in March to actual teams.
That's the Big 12. I did not say that. I'm not talking about them like the Big Ten of previous years, like we covered earlier. I said I believe there are 5 or 6 teams in the SEC that belong somewhere between 10 and 25.
Well, it'd be 15 through 25. They should not even be, dude. They're not good enough to be in the top 15, and it'll be proven in March, because they're just going to get steamrolled. You're not going to see a lot of SEC teams come Sweet 16.
I think they'll do okay. I don't think we're going to see any deep runs by like a lot of SEC teams. Maybe one of them squeaks into the Elite Eight or potentially a Final Four, but I don't think we'll see a champion out of the SEC. I think they're going to get 6 or 7 teams into the tournament, so they'll have more horses in the race. But
all right, better question. What SEC team do you have faith enough to play consistently good enough to make it to an Elite Eight?
I feel like, first and foremost, I'm going to bring up Kentucky, because you can never write them off.
Oh, fuck me. Kentucky's in the SEC. I always forget that shit.
Coach, Kentucky's either going to flop early or they're going to just go on some deep fucking tournament run, because that's what Coach Gal does. Auburn and Bruce Pearl, I think, have the potential to make a bit of a run. I've liked what South Carolina's been cooking, other than dropping 2 games this past week. Tennessee's been too inconsistent for me, so like I could see them making a Sweet 16 or potentially an Elite 8. I don't like them as a national champion. I don't really trust Alabama that much. And then Florida's been really hot lately. They're a sleeping giant, I think. If they can make a deep run in the SEC tournament, notch themselves like I think Florida could get themselves as high as like a 3 seed in the tournament. I think realistically they'll end up as like a 4, 5, or a 6. But watch out for Florida as like a sneaky 6 seed in the March Madness tournament.
All right.
So I don't. The SEC's in a weird place for me because I don't love a lot of these teams, but I don't hate a lot of them either. So I'm kind of laying low in the weeds and seeing how the rest of the SEC season plays out before I really make my judgments on a lot of these teams.
Fair enough. No, I'll give you that. Anything else though on the top 15?
Creighton, the last team in there. They're only
down by 3.
UConn, I did hit it pretty hard. UConn was only a 2.5 point favorite.
Yeah.
In this one. 3-point game right now. I expect UConn will probably win this one by 10, 15, maybe even 20 points when it's all said and done. But we will see what happens. Creighton's another one of those teams I'm kind of, I don't love them, don't hate them. They're doing okay. I'd like to see them do better, but they're consistently good but not great. That's the boat.
Yeah.
That's the bucket I put Creighton in. Is they're
fair.
a good team but not a great team. They play consistently good. They don't have these really good and really bad swings like some of the other teams, but I don't think their A game's quite as good as a lot of other teams.
I'm with you there. I am right with you there. And 8-2 scoring run right now. 12:50 left to go there. We'll see how they roll. Alrighty. Getting into 16 through 20, my dude. Number 16, Dayton. Number 17, Kentucky. 13, St. Mary's. 19, San Diego State. 20, South Carolina. We've got, San Francisco Dons going up against St. Mary's tonight at the plus money there.
That's going to be a fun game.
That's going to be a really fun game. I'm really excited for that. And because take a moment to talk about this because the Dons,
also 21-6,
yes,
just like St. Mary's. And they have been solid this year.
No, they've been super solid this year. They were solid last year, and they continue to play good basketball. And so it's going to be a nice wake-up call, I think, for St. Mary's. But how you feeling about 16 through 20 here?
Sorry, I was just looking. Yeah, San Francisco, not a single AP top 25 vote. That's disrespectful.
That's so disrespectful. Well, they're about to get one.
Same record as St. Mary's. I think they got a similar, if not the same, conference record. What are we sitting at? St. Mary's 12-0 in conference play. That's why they're ranked. Gonzaga and San Francisco both 10-2, and then you got Santa Clara, who I think has slept on, much like San Francisco, sitting at 8-4 conference record. I believe Santa Clara has a win over Gonzaga, not over St. Mary's. Obviously, St. Mary's 12-0 in conference play, which they're so weird, right? Like, because they started the season ranked. They played a terrible fucking non-conference schedule, and then now they're hot.
I feel like St. Mary's is one of those schools that they feel like, oh, this is a school that no one really else talks about outside of basketball, so that's a quote unquote small school. Let's throw them in there.
Yeah, they started the year ranked 23rd. Third game of the season, they lost to Weber State at home. Then lost by 25 to San Diego State. Dropped a third game in a row to Xavier by 17. Grabbed a win against Davidson. Lost at home to Utah. Lost their next game to Boise State. So keep in mind at this point, they got off to a 3-5 start to the season. And now they've won. What have they won?
They've won like
They've won 13 straight games.
Yeah.
So they're playing good ball now. I still am like worried about what happened. Like, how did you start the season that piss poor? Either way, I'm reserving judgments on them because I do think this conference is going to be really interesting with Gonzaga, who's now starting to hit their stride a little bit. San Francisco's a really good team. Santa Clara could be a little Cinderella. Don't be surprised if Santa Clara has a little Cinderella run and wins this conference tournament. Outside of those four, nobody else has a chance in this conference. But there's that. Let's talk about another mid-major sitting there.
Oh yeah,
Dayton. The AP voters do not want to put Dayton into the top 15, I guess.
Yeah.
Winning 2 games, just fine. Cruising through conference play. Other teams lost, and what do? They keep Dayton right there at 16. They said, you can stay put. We'll move everybody else up and down. You can stay put.
Do you think it's because they're expecting? No, but like, do you think it's because they're expecting, Dayton to come out eventually and just have that bad game, and then they can point to that and be like, "See, that's why we kept him there," and then they drop him down, so they don't quote unquote look like idiots putting Dayton in the top 10 and top 15, excuse me. And then they get absolutely blown out randomly. Because I think that might be their worry with some of these mid-major schools.
Well, Dayton's in the A10, so the A10 is probably the number 6 or 7 best conference in college basketball. Fair. It's a conference that, depending on the year, could send 2 to 4 teams to the tournament.
Yeah,
very rarely it's 1, but sometimes it could be 2 to 4. And Dayton's just been cruising through conference play, and so I'm wondering, like, where's the love for them? I would probably have Dayton all the way up at like 11 or 12 personally. I think they've deserved that. And the problem is, if they lose 1 game, they're going to get dropped like 4, 5, 6 spots. And so you play 2 games in a week, you win both of them, you stay put, maybe you jump up 1 spot a week if you're Dayton. It's kind of unfair that losing 1 game is going to drop them that much when they play in a conference that, they're number 1 in their conference, right? But you look at like number 2, 3, 4, 5 in their conference. That's better than, the maybe 10th or 11th or 12th best team in the Big Ten. I don't understand why we punish these mid-majors so much for a single loss. Now, when it becomes a habit, then that is a different story, because you don't have those games against top-tier teams where you can get a redeeming win to boost your stock. But yeah, they'll be fine. I'm really high on Dayton. I think they're going to be really good. I like them to go pretty deep in the tournament this year. Kentucky, on the other hand, we mentioned briefly, jumping 5 spots, big win over Auburn, big statement win. Don't have much else to say about them. San Diego State, welcome back. Welcome back to the top 25. They have been in and out of the top 25. Like, I feel like they switch off every other week. They're in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. And we'll see if they're here to stay this time, or if they're going to lose one this week and fall out of it, drop a couple spots. I don't know. The Mountain West is fun, though. Mountain West is fun.
Mountain West is fun. Always fun. Always fun. Anything about South Carolina there? Sitting at 20, dropping 9 spots.
Yeah, they had a really, really nice run there in the middle of the season. You lose 2 in 1 week, you're going to take a big drop.
Yeah, it's just going to happen.
Especially when one of those 2 is at home to Louisiana State University. And the other one was a 40-point road loss to Auburn.
True. That never helps.
So, yeah, ugly week for South Carolina. I think 9 spot drop. They
warranted. Earned that. Yeah, they earned that. They earned that. We didn't lose. We earned the loss.
I don't want to say they're lucky to still be in the rankings. Actually, I think 9 spots, probably about the right drop there, because it is only 2 games. You don't want to throw out the rest of the body of work they've had the entire season, but it was 2 really bad losses.
I know, but is it hard for me to sit? It's hard for me to sit here and think about that and be like, if this was football and a team just dropped 2 in a row, like, they would be out of the rankings right now. Like, what are we even talking about? But I understand basketball's different and everything, but those were 2 bad losses. Anyway.
Yeah, but when you play like 32 to 35 games instead of
I get
12.
I get it, but I don't know. Anyway, anything else on the top 20 there, Noah?
No. Let's get into
right.
Get into the last 5 here.
The bottom feeders, as we love to call them. Washington State at 21, Colorado State at 22, Texas Tech at 23, Florida at 24, BYU dropping all the way down to 6. Noah, how we feeling?
We're feeling good. I didn't think we were going to get to play a ranked team the rest of the Pac-12 regular season and tournament. But thanks for showing up, Washington State.
We appreciate you guys.
I'm glad they're giving us the opportunity to beat another ranked team. In all seriousness, they deserve it. They played a hell of a schedule. They have been the biggest surprise in the Pac-12. The biggest good surprise in the Pac-12 to me so far this year. There have been some teams that have completely flopped and underperformed. Washington State has very much overperformed what they were expected to do.
Oh, for sure.
Their center there, he's a stud. He's looking real good. I think he's a freshman too. But, kudos to them. Welcome to the top 25. Don't know if you'll be here long, but congratulations. And I think they've played well enough to be a tournament team in a year where I see maybe it's going to be one of those years where like the Pac-12 is only going to send like 3 teams.
Yeah.
It's going to be Arizona, Washington State, and then maybe Colorado or Utah or I don't even know who else, but might just be might be a fucking 2-bid conference.
It might be, which honestly wouldn't be the worst thing when you talk about Pac. Well, I mean, I guess last year the Pac-12, our reputation as a conference doesn't matter. So let's try to sneak another team in there. But
yeah.
I do want to say also on Washington State, Noah, I think they're at a point right now where with their record and with their, who they've played and everything, where they take a loss to us, they're not dropping out of the rankings. I think even if they take a loss to us, and
not
then
to Arizona.
No. They take a loss to us on Thursday and they're still chilling in the top 25, I think.
Yeah, honestly, I think Arizona, Washington State, both going to make the March Madness tournament. Or Oregon's a maybe.
Ugh. They might just squeeze them in there because Nike money.
And honest to God, I don't see another Pac-12 team making the March Madness tournament. So I think we're a 2-bid, possibly a 3-bid if Oregon finishes out well enough to make it.
Yeah, but they need a deep run there in the Pac-12 tournament for me to feel confident about them getting in there. But keeping it moving. No Colorado State there at 22. Any thoughts?
It's the revolving door that is Mountain West. I mean, like San Diego State. Welcome back to the rankings, Colorado State. Don't know how long you're going to be staying here, but it's so tough because the top 5 teams in the Mountain West are all so damn evenly matched up. I've been basically at this point, my strategy, because the lines are always like 6 points or less. When any of those top 5 teams are playing each other, I just kind of blindly bet the home team because, like,
that's fair.
I can't differentiate between these who's better, who's worse. So, yeah, same story as San Diego State. Welcome back to the rankings. Don't know how long you're going to be staying here, but congratulations.
Welcome back.
Same could apply to Texas Tech.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They're up right now. I think by 2. But that game just started with TCU. So, yeah, Texas Tech, same thing pretty much. Welcome back, but see if they can rip off a couple of wins here. Florida, I mean, Noah, you seem high on Florida. You like them up there at 24?
Yeah, they a little bit of a slower start to the season, but they've been hot lately. They've been ripping off wins in SEC conference play, beating good teams. They've deserved to crack the top 25. And I'm curious to see what they do going forward. I think they've got enough body of work to solidify themselves in the field of 68. And I think if they keep doing what they're doing, I like them to be somewhere between a 4 and a 6 seed by the time tournament time rolls around. And like I said, Florida could be a very sneaky 6 seed if they end up getting a 6. Could totally see them knocking off a 3 in the second round, and then maybe a 2 after that, and then really causing some waves by making an Elite Eight or something. Not going to get too ahead of myself, but I said could. I didn't say I'm expecting them to. I said they could be a sneaky 6.
Fair enough. BYU sitting there at 25. A tight one to UCF and then a loss to Oklahoma State. How we feeling?
Yeah,
I mean, hey, they're still in the ranking at least.
Yeah, I don't know how. I really don't understand why they're still in the rankings. I don't think they're a bad team, but I mean, the loss to Oklahoma State was enough. Was enough for me to say, no, you shouldn't be ranked anymore. But yeah, you know, what do I know? AP voters still got them in there. I mean, you look at the teams that the AP voters have in there after them, with like Virginia, Gonzaga, Wisconsin, Michigan State, TCU. It's like whatever. South Florida, I think, could be deserving of a spot. And then New Mexico, Utah State, obviously. GCU, show them some love. Nevada, rounding out those Mountain West teams. I think it's funny that Pittsburgh is there. I don't think Pitt should even have votes. Clemson, I don't think should have votes. McNeese, I love. I've been high on McNeese all season. Put them in the rankings. They deserve it. Drake, also very good. App State, very good. I mean, all 3 of those only getting one point each, 125 vote, but kind of surprised to see BYU still in the rankings at this point.
Yeah, I am too.
See if they can earn their stay or not.
Yeah. We'll have to find out. Shout out to FAU finally being dropped from the rankings. Y'all had a run. Wasn't a good run, but y'all had a run.
And they don't have the schedule to earn their way back in either.
No, not even a little bit. Rough go there for FAU. But Noah,
they might have to win their. I say may because in my mind I think they should have to win their conference tournament to get into the March Madness field. However, they did make the Final Four last year, and they have a lot of the same rosters. So the committees, I mean, they could fucking lose half the rest of their games, and the committee would still find a way to put them in as like a 13 or a 14 seed just because.
Well, if you look at FAU's losses, you know, those are some strong losses, Noah. You know, it's a strong strength of losses right there, or whatever the hell. What was that term they used? Something like that?
Quality loss.
Quality loss. Thank you. It's quality losses there, Noah. You know, quality losses. But yeah, I think that's all I got in college basketball. You got anything else on tonight, buddy?
I do not.
All right. Let's figure out our schedule for tomorrow. You good to do the Mexican Open tomorrow? Mexico Open?
Yes, sir.
Sweet. We will have our best bets picks for that, including a good little DFS draft to get the week started. And then who knows? Maybe we'll talk about something else. But we're in that period. Maybe we talk a little hockey tomorrow, Noah, huh? We haven't talked hockey in forever.
I'd talk some hockey.
Or we could even talk NBA. The NBA season is officially starting on Thursday.
That's not true.
Yeah, it is. It's after NFL and after their All-Star break. Like, shit actually kind of matters now.
The NBA season doesn't start till the playoffs start.
Yeah, but like everyone pretends it starts now because there's nothing else on. Like the NFL's done. I was betting on lacrosse all day on Sunday. No, that's what I'm doing with the NFL not being around anymore.
The earliest I would argue that the NBA season even halfway starts is after March Madness in like the middle of April. Then, you know, maybe, but.
All right, let's talk hockey tomorrow then.
Before that, it's just, you know, it's 5-month-long preseason.
Fair. All right, let's talk hockey and golf tomorrow, huh?
Sounds wonderful to me.
All right, sweet. We'll be here about the same time. Shout out to the 5 people still listening live right now. Appreciate each and every single one of you. If you haven't yet, you know, and you like what we're cooking, hit that like button. Helps out a lot more than you know. And shout out to our 400. I don't know numbers anymore, Noah. 432 incredible followers here on the Rumble. We appreciate each and every single one of you. But with all that being said, I, of course, am the Brofect1 AJ. That's the Money Train, Noah. And we'll see you next time on Degenerate Takes.